Right. We should be going live right as some sirens go by. Hello. How is everybody doing? How's life? How's the universe? How has your week been? How is everything? Hello, John, if you're still here. Evening nerds will try to listen while driving. Stupid Edinburgh flights have been delayed for over 2 hours, so gotta wait for the guests. Also, no tips, because you know, Edinburgh. Yeah, fair. You can't say that I'm that surprised on that one, I'm afraid. Also, the setup's changed a bit. And that is because I currently have a new monitor. This monitor is the Philips Evnia 8600, the 34 M2C 8600 specifically, which is very nice OLED. Yeah, I've got a full review of it coming out tomorrow, which you'll see, and you'll understand why I have very politely convinced Philips to leave it with me. Hello, Simon S63 Tech. How you doing, man? How's things? So yeah, I've moved the camera, so right now I'm actually down a display. In fact, my other display that will be going back is actually sitting on that chair there. So I've got it's an ultra wide, so it's kind of shuffle things around. So I've still got my portrait monitor, I've got the ultra wide here, and then I'm going to be putting the other ViewSonic XG 270 UG up above it. And then that will round out my setup, and that will mean that I'm getting slightly more screen real estate than I had, and obviously a very nice OLED panel on top of that, or actually quantum dot OLED panel. But the monitor arm that I have currently is slightly too short, and by slightly too short I mean quite a lot too short. So I'm replacing it with a much longer one, arguably one that is far too tall, but it's the only one that I can find that fits the same base. So I will need to take both monitors that I currently have off to replace the pole, but yeah. I'm being facetious, generally anything Commonwealth adjacent, kinda stingy. Nice. Talking about monitors, I really think you should try to acquire a big 40-inch ultra-wide for testing that I previously mentioned. Give me a sec. Oh, I remember what you're talking about. Can't quite remember. Yeah, the LC power one. Yeah. I'm afraid that I haven't found their PR team yet. But let me open it in a tab and then I might actually remember. It's a remarkably good price. IPS panel as well. It's literally like half the price of this one. Hold on, I need to extend my Chrome window slightly. Silent Power Electronics Germany. Alright. Well, I'll see if I can find them. There we go. Hello Simon, how you doing, man? How's things? Really cheap seems iffy. Yeah, that's fair. Hello Joe, how you doing, man? How's things? The one I was whinging about was the Gigabyte M34WQ. This is bigger and brighter, also cheaper. Weird. Fair. Is the WQ still expensive? I would have thought that it would have come down a bit by now. And yeah, hello, people who are joining. Hello, Commander Classified. How you doing, man? How's things? Just get the 42-inch OLED. I mean, that's nice. It's also double the price. Not so bad. How have you been this week? Mixed. I have I've done the review of this monitor, and I have another. In fact, I'm actually doing the review on this headset, which is the wired version of the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro. So this is the Nova Pro. The one that I reviewed on Monday is the Nova Pro Wireless. So this is the exact same headset, basically. It's just it doesn't have any of the ports on it. It still has the weird and really annoying magnetic covers. But there's just nothing under there. It's just blank with the these are like skin slicers. Weird. So yeah, I've been testing this, which comes with the Game DAC Gen 2, which, focus, weirdly has two USB-C inputs as well as line in, line out, and then obviously the headphone port itself, which is kind of rare. But basically the idea is that these stay plugged into your PC and a console, like a Nintendo Switch or PlayStation 4 or 5, whatever. And then that's you can switch between the two quite easily. Around 600 euros here for the Gigabyte. Fair, so about 100 more than the LC Power one. I almost have the 1970 Mark 1 done. What a journey. Got a guy coming in at look at it this weekend. Hopefully we'll get around $100,000 for it. Very nice. Hello Harry, how you doing? How's things? What was I doing? I could do some new PC monitors. My new laptop has a 3075 by 1920 display at 14 inches. So my 27-inch 1080p monitors don't look good. That's a weird resolution. That's almost 2:1. Well, it's 3:2, actually. That's weird. But, I mean, fair enough. And yeah, 27-inch at 1080p never really spoke to me, I would say. 1440p at 27 inches is my balancing point. 3072 by 1920. Only a couple of pixels different, it's fine. This little HP Touch monitor is a little gem. Yes, I saw the video on Discord. Very nice. And what a steal. Alright. What's funny, so I've as you can probably tell, I've moved the camera a bit. It used to be up there. And, you know, looking a bit more down, this is now closer to eye level, which I prefer, personally. But the catch with that is that the whole ring light is now fully visible. So, while I'm lit better, I can't see the monitor as well. And also, the pixel arrangement on this monitor is a little weird, and with text this small. Can I zoom in on this? No. What about that? No, okay. I'll think about it. But yeah. Where am I at? The Gigabyte is under 400 nits peak brightness. The LC claims around 600. They claim HDR 600, but 40-inch might be kind of big for a 1440p ultrawide. A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like what I'm currently looking at is a 34-inch ultrawide, 1440p ultrawide. So I can't imagine it being that much bigger. I mean, this is the same pixel density as a loud car, I said. Roughly a 27-inch 1440p monitor, because it's the same height and it's basically the same pixel count. But What was I gonna say? Nope, I've got nothing. I guess we've started the Andrew the goes mad stream already. Oh dear. I can't imagine what 40 inches would look like. I guess that's probably equivalent to 32 inch. They weren't impressed with me. The picture is surprisingly good too. I've been using a 32-inch old LCD, so anything's an improvement, but it's decent. It's 1080p, what was it, 24 inches? Was that right? Both an upgrade from my 200-ish nits. Well, that's the funny thing is, so this OLED, like OLEDs in general, often don't get all that bright, which is fine. The thing though is that my monitors, like I don't have my monitors running very brightly. I have my, but I can almost reach it. I have my Datacolor Spider 5, which is the older one. It's the one that I don't use for testing anymore, but I do use it for color calibrating my displays and for basically just checking brightness. Because with the response time tools especially, calibrating the brightness was quite a big deal in the sort of early setup of the first one, this one. So that was really useful to have about. And so I checked and you know, my monitors generally run at about 150 to 160 nits, which is what I'm sort of comfortable with. This OLED only does 250 nits peak in SDR. It can technically do 1,000 nits at 3% of a window. So take that how you will, but for SDR usage, I've actually turned the brightness down. It's running at about 150 nits, which is perfectly fine with me. Commander Classified, I'll join your Discord and post some pics of the car. Are there any particular channel for automotive stuff? Probably the at the wheel videos. There is also car memes, but that's not quite right. Or just general if you really want. Not a big deal. I have a nice MSI 3440 by 1440, 34-inch, 144 is ultra wide. Nice. IPS or VA panel? Look at me talking tech instead of... yeah, fair. 1080p, 24 inches, so yeah, fair. My friend had a Ford XY GTH 0 Phase 3 purple white interior. Was Bob Stillwell's own car, kind of one of a kind made for him. Christ. He bought it for 70k, restored it, and sold it for 950k 10 years later. Good investment. That is a good investment. Oh, so my question might be, is 1440p too low res for 34 inches? I don't think that it's too low res. It is slightly noticeable. Personally, I kind of like it, depending on how much space you have on your desk. If you've got enough depth to it, it can actually look really nice. But, yeah, 27 inch is definitely good. I think with the ultra-wide... as long as you have enough space on your desk, I think it will be fine. You know, you can sit a little bit further back from it. The Commander Classified's pics are on the Discord if you want to go join. General channel. Very cool. Retro. And Wendell at Level 1 Techs mentioned your latency tester the other day. He's an amazing guy. He is. I think he was talking about the response time tool, because that's what he's actually bought one now. which is nice. And what you call it? He yeah, I've met him a couple times actually. I met him at we ironically MSI took me to AMD's headquarters in Austin, in Texas, and they brought Wendell along as well, so I met him for the first time there. And the fun story with that is that you can't go to Texas without shooting some guns. And of course, the hotel that we stayed at, if you walk down the driveway bit and then onto the like motorway ass road that was just the suburban road, of course, straight across the road there was a shooting range. Texas. So yes, we did. We found our way across the road because we had to walk like just on some grass for quite a while to get to some traffic lights, to then cross the road, to then walk along some grass the other way to get to the shooting range. And then yes, we did have to take a taxi back from the shooting range to go across the road to get to the. Oh god. So yeah, we went shooting, which was really fun, and then I met him again at Computex, where we made some tea together. Actually, again MSI took us along, and MSI basically didn't want us to be at Computex for anyone other than them, so they showed us around the booth on the first day and basically like kept us there, and then on the second day they took us on a trip away from Computex to like up into the mountains outside Taipei, and to the tea plantations where we went and handpicked tea, and then we like hand like pressed it and rolled it, and then they dried it out for us, and they dropped off the bags of dried tea the next day to our hotel. So I have a bag of oolong tea with Andrew and Wendell's name on it, which is quite fun. And then on the third day, I managed to sneak my way back into Computex to actually look at some of the stuff. So yes, I have some personal experience with Wendell. He's a fantastic and ever knowing man, and he's also doing great for like getting in shape these days. Fantastic. I found using the computer for more than an hour on a 32-inch TV gave me massive headaches, much easier in the eyes of the smaller, sharper image. Image is quite fuzzy on the TV. There's also a very good chance that it wasn't flicker-free, it was using some form of strobing backlight. And yeah, that might have also been affecting your perception of the screen. And also, yeah, if it's low resolution, 60 hertz, really slow response times, all this sort of stuff. Yeah. Oh, we got bit by a tick. Ah, I didn't know that part. Well, I mean, he's looking fantastic. So fantastic on the recovery. Kidnapped by MSI. Oh, the times have changed. They have indeed. Also, hello to Wab, hello to Chris, hello to Yanni or Zig, hello to Ish. Did I see anyone else here? There we go. I think that's everyone that's in the chat anyway. Yeah. How is everybody doing? Hey, John was saying about the monitor. I added a board on my desk for more depth. Fair, fair. Wapas Lyme disease. Ish says not exactly sure. He doesn't seem to be keen on sharing the exact details. Could be. Yeah, he's a very what you call it? Nope. Like, the word I'm not thinking of is humid. Humility? Selfless. That genre of word. Fuck. Humble. Fucking hell, thank you. Jesus. He's a very humble man. And so I'm sure that I think he's someone who would likely downplay his own illness or struggles to not try and best anyone else. 32-inch 1440p is a great size and resolution. That's my go-to for 1440p. On a small desk, 27-inch 1440p is again great viewing size. I am myself a very humid man. It seems to be a German bloke at Basic Tutorials com tested the big LCD monitor and the brightness is around 400 nits, but I'd like to see you test it for response times and input lag. Before that, Yama seemed okay. I will see what I can dig up. See if I can find one of their PR people directly, because emailing the company itself is normally not a like just emailing info at or marketing at or whatever. Those emails normally just go straight in the bin. So, yeah. Hello, Alex. How you, man? How's things? The reason that I stared at the screen and looked confused is because it came up with a pixel refresh warning. I think asking to do a pixel refresh, which would turn the what you call it, screen off for a bit, which wouldn't be ideal for streaming on. Did you make a part 2 video about ChatGPT at home? As of yet, no. I'm still waiting to get a GPU with enough VRAM and enough power to be able to do that. So I'm afraid no, but I do hope to at some point. I just need to get my hands on some powerful hardware to be able to actually do it. Part 1 was awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, as soon as I get a powerful enough and GPU with enough VRAM, especially, it will be on my my top priority list. But unfortunately, the highest end card I have realistically is 2080 Ti, and that's nowhere near enough VRAM to that barely runs the models, let alone training them. I was able to do the same with a certain amount of troubleshooting, but it made it even more fun. Nice. What graphics card are you using for that? On the 3060? Ah, well, the 12 gig, because I've actually swapped a 3060 into my PC. One, for troubleshooting, because I've been having some issues, and two, because it has 12 gig of VRAM, and so that lets me run Vicuna, even 13B, but I think I'm generally swapping to 7B for a lot of stuff, so that it's a little bit more reliable for me. And so that works a little bit better. 8 gig of VRAM, yeah. I mean, I did have a 3070 Ti in my system for a fair while. In fact, you can maybe see it on the desk there. There's a monitor arm there, but that lump is a 3070 Ti. But yeah, so that is what I had for a long time, but it only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM, which means I can't run any of those, so... Ultroids are ace for gaming. They are indeed. Very, what you call it? Immersive, that's the word. But have you got in touch with Hardware Unboxed? I'm sure that Tim would love your tester. I have actually. In fact, we, myself, Tim, and Simon from TFT Central all sat down for like several hours. Apologies. To discuss testing methodologies. But yeah, so Tim already has his own tool essentially that he had made for him and for Hardware Unboxed. So he's not necessarily in need of one, as it were. You know, I'm sure that. In fact, I think he did offer to have one to validate it against his own results, but it I had already had it validated by Simon, so I was fairly confident in that, and I didn't need to post it to Australia to do that one. So yeah, and I think they got LDAT as well. So while the latency tester, which is under here, which I've done some more work on actually, the open source latency testing tool. While this will be very useful, it's more useful for people who don't already have LDAT. So people like Linus probably won't need or want one necessarily. Although I am hoping that it will be a more useful tool overall as well. But we'll see. The Yama ultrawide seemed okay, but you tested some ludicrously high input lag. Glad I didn't buy that one. Even my old arse would have noticed that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure. Like it's been a couple years at this point, so while my memory is remarkably good for a lot of things, it might not be exact on this one. I remember the time sleuth got a really high result. I don't know if I had LDAT at the time to test the like total system latency, and I certainly didn't have the response time tool to test on display latency. But the thing with the time sleuth is that it is it can only output up to a 1080p 60 hertz signal, and the problem with that is it when you're outputting a 1080p 60 hertz signal, it is the monitor will have to do that rescaling on the scaler. Whereas when you set your monitor in like Windows to a lower resolution, as far as I'm aware anyway, the graphics card is what does the rescaling. So if you set your 1440p monitor to 1080p, it's the graphics card that will render 1080p, but it'll actually auto render that to 1440p with a 1080p image, as it were. And then send it because the monitor is sending that it's called EDID, EDID information back to the graphics card to tell it what the supported resolutions and refresh rates are. And so the graphics card will only output to the supported resolution, whereas the time sleuth is just a basic FPGA chip, and so that will only output whatever it wants, and then it's up to the monitor to do that upscaling. And for especially like ultrawides, this ultrawide, the Philips one, the time sleuth reckoned it had like 10 milliseconds of like on display latency, but when you use OSRTT with it, it was only an average of 3 milliseconds with nothing taking longer than one frame, and so that means that it is not come on, brain. Gone blank again. I genuinely can't even remember what I was talking about. What was the question? Oh, on display latency. So yeah, there's a good chance that the MM1 is actually probably fine, but yeah. Um, as far as I'm aware-ish, the Windows controls and the driver, like in-driver controls, are um, pretty similar. But I'm also not a graphics engineer. But that's my understanding anyway. Could be wrong. Um, I've heard talk of coil wine more often recently. Is it just because once you notice people talking about it, you're super aware of it more? But I think column A, column B, in the sense that in my experience testing graphics cards, it's just really common these days with the amount of power that they draw, the packaging, the component choice, um, possibly even stuff with power supplies. Um, it's just really common. And also it depends on the sort of loads as well. Some only do it for a brief moment while they're like loading stuff or doing um, certain like workloads, like as Alex is saying, running uh, inference, AI inference with text generation. Um, I've heard that a few times, but some just do it constantly. Yeah. Ba 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 ba. My GTX 1080 just shit the bed. Luckily, my GTX Titan XP Galactic Empire Edition is still going strong. I do need to get an RTX card soon, mainly for the tensor cores. Could care less about ray tracing. Yeah, fair. um, has anyone actually tested the performance loss on 8 PCIe lanes on a 4060 when used in PCI Gen 3? I think, Alex mentioned it, Derbauer Roman did. I see that Asus is making a 4060 Ti that has an M.2 slot on the back of it. Fair? Are they going to use the extra non-usable lanes on the back of the PCIe slot because they're both X8? That'd be kind of cool. Although realistically, I don't know why. Because it certainly wouldn't be used for VRAM. But it would be really cool if you could. In fact, there was an Nvidia an AMD workstation card that did have like 2 or 4 SSDs on it. I don't think those were for used as VRAM though. It may require the motherboard to have bifurcation, but it may have a PLX chip in it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it would need to. You're right. It would either need to bifurcate the slot or have a multiplexer on board, but then that seems a bit weird. And then it really is pointless. Up to 5% loss on Gen 3 motherboard, but can be up to 25 to 30% in more recent games running ray tracing. There you go. Hello, Luca. Evening. Unlocked my car's ECU for tuning. Should get 420 horsepower. Nice. Enjoy that. Hope it doesn't blow up. I've just noticed I was somehow about 6 minutes behind. I just thought you were really slow in replying. No, I hope not. Sometimes YouTube does that. It plays back ever so slightly slowly, and then, yeah, not good. In fact, my own copy of the stream that's running over there is quite slow. It's quite far behind. What engine did the Dacia you reviewed have in it? The more recent one was the TC150, which I think was a like 1.3 liter turbo, if I remember rightly. It says in the video. The one that I reviewed last year was the TC90, which is the 1 liter turbo, which only had 90 horsepower versus 150 in this one. My 6600 XT whines when loading some games. That's kind of not surprising. I have that a lot with loading in games. Yeah, it's weird. I'm testing the Jogger tomorrow. It's the 1.6 hybrid, which is likely what I'll end up getting. Don't know if you experienced the engine at all. So I'm pretty sure the 1.6 hybrid is the same 1.6 hybrid you get in the Renault E-Tex. And I went to the launch event for that engine. And so yes, I've driven 3 cars, 3 Renault Group cars with that engine. It's fine. It's a bit weird because it's a kind of weirdly complicated hybrid. It's a 1.6 naturally aspirated petrol with a motor on the engine and a motor on the gearbox. You can't run EV only, if I remember rightly. It only has a 4.7 kilowatt hour battery under the back seat, and then the fuel tank is dropped by 20 or so liters. So even in the estate, the Megane estate, it was a 45 liter fuel tank, compared to what normally would be in there, which is a 65 liter fuel tank. The Jogger is roughly the same size, but yeah. This one says it can run EV only, but not for long. Okay, so yeah, it's probably the same engine. It might just be that you can put it in because it's a automatic, so I guess it puts the gearbox or like the torque converter in neutral, you know, whatever, and then just runs from the electric motor. But yeah. So yes, I have driven it. It's fine. It's a bit lackluster. It's a bit clunky, I think was the words I would describe it with. Although you can go watch one of the first videos on the channel, which is the E-Tech launch video, if you're interested. I can't remember what sort of horsepower the electric motor, because the electric motor on the engine I think was just regen and like starting it. The electric motor in the gearbox is the one that does the driving, if I remember rightly. So yeah. But it's been 2 years? 2.5 years? Or maybe even 3 years. Who knows? I think I started in 2020, so yeah, I think it was 3 years ago. Jesus. Really wanted a car with a bigger engine, but I couldn't live with the cream/wood interior on a 2010 Jag 3.0 V6 diesel. Was that a XF? Because I don't think the XE was out in 2010. Actually, was the XF was? Yeah, XF. There you go. Fair. Was it a 3-liter turbo diesel, or was it just 3-liter diesel? I mean, if it's a diesel, it's almost always turbo. So I might have just defeated my own question, but yeah. He's so small in it. Yeah. Yeah, I've bulked a bit since. Although I seem to have lost a kilogram over the last week or so. I've been limiting my intake, doing a bit more exercise as much as I can, and I believe I've lost a kilogram. Finally got a Chromebook for testing at work when our biggest client has lots of them. Already running Android and Linux on it. Nice. That was careless, Andy. Must do better. Yeah, I don't know where it went. Turbo diesel, 285 bhp. Nice, especially because that will be rear-wheel drive. That would be quite lively. Wonder if you could remap that, because you can almost always remap turbo diesels. Thank you, YouTube chat, for filling in finally. Joe put the spec sheet on Discord. Where is it? The hybrid 140 has 105 kilowatts, 140 horsepower. For a car that weighs that much? Does it say weight actually? Curb weight. Oh, it's only 1400. That's not that bad, actually. Yeah. And a 50-litre fuel tank. Interesting. Does it say how big the battery is? 1.2 kilowatt hour. Ah, tiny. Like 1.2 kilowatt hours is a single 280 amp hour cell. I can't do maths in my head. 280 times 3.2. It's almost a single 280 amp hour prismatic cell. But actually, hold on. They list it as 230 volts. So 1.2 kilowatt hour battery? Yeah, 1.2 kilowatt hour battery at 230 volts means that it's a 5 amp hour battery. 5 amp hour. 5,000 milliamp hour. It's another laptop battery. If you remember the Suzuki Ignis, it has basically a laptop battery under the passenger seat. Better than the 600 watt hour of the Volvo V90 mild hybrid. Mild my arse, it's not hybrid at all. My drill has more amps. Yeah, I know, right? Oh dear. So it's basically an engine with a C battery taped to it. Exactly. Hello, where are you? Where is it? Oh, it's in Twitch, duh. Hello, Essentialist, different camera angle? Yes! Because I have a new monitor, which means that I have, instead of the camera being up here, it's now down there. And so it's a little bit lower, it's a little bit nicer for me to look at, because I'm not kind of craning up to look at it. It's a little bit closer to the chat. Oh, good. I might move it a little bit again, but it's, I'm liking it. Should I get an Audi A6 Allroad 2.7 TDI? No. It's a terrible car. Oh dear. Oh, look up an 880 newton meters of torque. That's something. That is your gearbox can handle that. Just use propane. It's like nitrous for a diesel. Gotta get those booms. Volvo, next you guys are gonna want a sub. They're kind of cool. Um. Ba, 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 ba. As long as it gets me from A to B and fits everyone in, then I'll be happy. Was just concerned about power when fully loaded, but should be okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're filling all, is it 7-seater? Or is it 5 seats? Anyway, several. The what you call it? It is 7 seats. Fair. Yeah, that's like 140 horsepower, even with the mild hybrid. You know, is fine. Might be a little bit on the slow side, but should be all right. Oh yes, Luca, on the horsepower side, or the diesel remapping side for sure. My friend Dan's BMW 5 Series that's being repaired after someone crashed into it. That started off as, I think, was it like 400 or 500 Newton meters and 230 or 240 horsepower, and after the remap was about 300 horsepower and 800 Newton meters. So yeah, not bad. I have 3 Jags, 3 Range Rovers, all garbage, near impossible to work on, not to mention all of the expensive parts. Well, I assume that the Jags and Range Rovers you have are probably in the older range. Rover, haha. The newer stuff is all just Ford stuff. Or very similar to Ford stuff. I'm not saying that they're great to work on, but yeah, the newer stuff is pretty generic. Jag Ford Mondeo, yeah. In that vintage before they killed the Mondeo, yeah. Ba, 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 ba. Just get a Ford Model T in black. Solves all problems. No. Mine will be 500 to 600 Newton meters after the remap. Nice. Mine's 440 now. If I were to remap it, which I don't really have the money nor money for fuel for, then I think it's in the same sort of ballpark. 420-ish horsepower on pump gas and 500 or 600 Newton meters. Ford used to own Jaguar. Now Jaguar Land Rover are owned by Tata Steel. I think they sold in somewhere between 2012 and 2016, somewhere in there. Ford also had a controlling share in both Volvo and Mazda, and Aston Martin, actually, which is why you could buy an Aston Martin DB9 with a Volvo key. Yeah, and why the Volvo S40 that I had a timing chain, because that was a Mazda design that Ford borrowed. I was being serious about propanes with diesels. We use it to start our diesels up north in the winter. Propane is very compression friendly and never goes bad. I mean, fair. That's pretty decent. I imagine it's more expensive and probably less economical to run it only on propane. But yeah. That's what stops me from having a big engine car. I regularly do 200+ mile trips, and my 1.6 diesel is wonderfully light on my wallet. No fun though. Yeah, so the thing is, the reason I have a bigger engine car, a 3-liter V6 supercharged, is I only do longer drives, but I don't do them very often. So I don't mind paying, 60 quid or whatever for the journeys that I do. Because on either end there's some fun roads, and so I get to have fun while I'm doing it. And that's profit. I heard that Saab are making a comeback in EV form under a new name. Yes, Top Gear did a video on the Skunkworks car that the remnants of Saab made an EV. Ridiculously cool motors. I really like those hub motors. Basically, the idea is they bolt up to a standard wheel bearing housing, so they replace the wheel bearing and brake caliper, and then you get something. What was it? It was something like 60 or 80 or 100 or something like that horsepower from just one of those hub motors. So if you have 4, you have not only full torque vectoring because it's at each individual wheel, but you also have much better packaging because everything is inside those hub motors. You just basically connect power to them, and away they go. And you get really cool control. It's really, it tickles my tech spot. Wooly not far away from 100k subscribers. I've not been that far from 100k subscribers for quite a while. But yes. One day I'll get there. Probably in a couple of years at this rate. Diesel needs heat to ignite. The propane is just to get it going. I used to hop up the Volvo diesels for guys using propane. Use a solenoid and route the propane to the intake. Tire roasters. Ah, I see. Now I understand what you mean by it's like nitrous. Got you. The YouTube gods stalled a couple years ago, but with sharps that might change. I hope so. I need to make some more. I was hoping to have some time this week, but I have had limited executive function on certain days, like today, and therefore I haven't written the review for that headset yet. So we'll see. Weren't the hub motors developed for EV bus? Remember that from years ago. Quite possibly. It's a third-party company that has been installing them in a lot of stuff. So, yeah. You could always go to Threads and promote the channel. Ha 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 ha, no. Can't you just pinch a shot off of a real video? Or does YouTube ding you? I can, but most videos aren't like changing from 16 by 9 to 9 by 16. I can't. You kind of have to shoot stuff for that format, which is a bit difficult to do. So yeah. I have done it. I did it with a real self-driving video, but everything else it's difficult. I found you from Gamers Nexus when Steve was exposing BS in the industry. I think you're around 35,000 subscribers, and I found you. Can't wait for YouTube play button video. Well, thank you very much. I very much remember that with the beautiful MSI laptop drama. Yeah. It's been a while since I visited your channel. In the past, you mentioned some health problems. How's that going for you? Better? No. In fact, I have more. um, yeah, I'm officially diagnosed with ADHD. I'm on the several year waiting list for autism, and yeah, uh, my joints don't work, my back doesn't work, my heart is not really working right anymore, my lungs don't work, my eyes fall apart, like the front layer of my eye falls apart, which hurts a lot, and lots of other things. Oh, my stomach likes to tear itself apart as well. Yeah, so you don't need that stuff anyway. Who needs them? Eyes, hands, backs, hearts. A mostly non-functioning brain. Oh dear. Play button videos, Jar Jar. Fuck. Oh. Making viral shots is easy. Either just shout at the camera for 60 seconds about stuff, do pranks, or strip. Oh no. Just become a meta Zucker creature, and all those problems become irrelevant. Oh, but you get a whole new set of very relevant problems. So now we know where all of the Wizard of Oz sources parts from. Oh dear. Thanks, Sig. Oh dear. Yeah. I mean, I'm keeping at it, obviously. I don't have a choice. Yeah. I feel your pain, had arthritis when I was a kid, broke my neck and back in high school, and then I figured that being a mechanic would help my body. Yeah, I get that one too. I fix my own cars, I fix friends' cars, I fix, friends and family. Oh, I fix friends of friends' cars, apparently. If you carry on, you could become your own hybrid. Don't know how I feel about that. It could be worse, I guess. Hypothetically, you could be eaten by you could be bitten by a tick and forced to become vegan. That would be worse. I can relate. I have back problems, and I lift heavy equipment for a living. Geez, puts my 7 herniated discs and heart attack to same now, doesn't it? we're all failing in unique and interesting ways. I'm deaf and have hearing aids that are battery powered, which means my ears are electronic. Does that mean I can be classed as a mild hybrid? The batteries are even bigger than the Volvos. Yes, Joe, you're a mild hybrid. Good job. uh, we're all falling apart. We are. We're sacks of flesh and meat. It's not surprising. I'm not gonna read that one, Ish. Oh dear. I don't know, make hay while the sun shines and all that. Lemons and lemonade or something. If we didn't laugh at our multiple ailments, we'd all be very sad, and the stream would be completely different. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Between all of us, we might be able to make a single functional person. I don't know about that. Seems a bit of a stretch. There's only 10 people here right now. I think not. Yeah. I appreciate the return of the white shirt, but didn't you have some foil triangles in the back? I did, and then I realized that they were messing up my my Valve index tracking, and realized that also it's way too fucking hot, and I don't need them anymore. Yeah, 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 because that wooden beam there with the wire wrapped around it, just out of frame, is my index's base stations. There's one up there and there's one back there to capture the room. And basically the foil that was like there and there has been, you know, the laser beams that they fire were being messed around with over there, and then the controllers were detecting errant waves. Which was a bit of a problem and made tracking, especially for Beat Saber with the fast hand movements, really annoying. It's slightly better now. Foil triangle t-shirt, off-white of course. That's what's been different, been triggering my OCD stream. They've actually been gone for a couple of weeks. You can go back and check the VODs of the stream, but they've been gone for a couple of weeks. They're actually down there. And they have been for a good few weeks. Right in front of my isopropyl alcohol that I use for cleaning the circuit boards, PCBs. Actually, good news on the latency tool. Not that any of you are probably going to buy one, but it's I've ordered all of the parts for the first like 20 or so. I've made a lot of progress on the software and firmware side, so it's a lot closer to being all good. And yeah. And yes, I've ordered 100 PCBs because it's cheaper when you buy them, you know, kind of in bulk. 50 cases, which adds up to 54 purchasable cases, and the first 20 units worth of parts. So I should have some on the way soon. Also, I did, I think it was Alex earlier that asked, did I buy anything at the Prime Day sale? I did buy some RAM actually, 64 gigs of DDR4 for my Threadripper Overkill NAS, because I had this set of G-Scale Flare X, like AMD compatible, like I got this I think with one of the Ryzen kits, so this is 32 gigs of RAM, which is fine, but I'm running a 24 core Threadripper and I'm running a lot of different VMs. I'm now running Plex from Overkill instead of from my QNAP NAS. I'm running Pi-hole, I'm running Home Assistant, I'm running Nextcloud and a few other bits and pieces. So I could really, I really needed a bit more. So, and I have 64 gigs of RAM in it. Why were the foil triangles there anyway? This house is horrendously badly insulated, so when we first moved in, the world was colder, and I couldn't really afford to put the heating on, so I would put... They're basically bubble wrap with foil, so the insulation, because a lot of the heat was escaping through the walls. And so instead of like plastering the whole wall with it, I decided to try and be kind of artsy because I didn't have any light panels and thought, oh, I'll cut some triangles, it might look good for a stream. So yeah. When it's 100 degrees Celsius in Europe and you need foil in the house. Yeah. Wasn't bubble wrap invented as extra house insulation for Windows? I mean, quite possibly. That's not a fact I'm aware of, but I'm also completely unaware of that as a rule, so quite possibly. Sick. Watching events, I jumped on the 4TB Crucial P3 for £154 bargain games drive. Nice. That is a really good deal. I know the world's a bit warmer and we definitely can't afford to put heating on. Yes! Oh dear. See you, John. Enjoy. And actually, I'm gonna call it there as well. So thank you very much for hanging out. As always, these are every Thursday night at 8 p.m. UK time. So you want to pop back next week? Feel free. Also, if you want to check out more videos, definitely check out the Evnia review that comes out tomorrow, my new monitor. You will see why I am very excited to have it. And yeah, otherwise, stay safe, have a good week, and I'll catch you all hopefully tomorrow for a video, Monday for a video, and next week for a stream. Bye, guys.